All right, oil take I think 8 now. I hate presenting over video, man. The script's also kind of hard to read because I wrote it so badly. All right, let's get into it. All right, connections. Our final assignment, my personal final assignment. This is the last thing I'm handing in for the semester. There's a lot of things to talk about, but I thought oil would be a pretty easy one from everything ever in the history of ever. So let's get into it. All right. In this presentation, I'm going to go over the intro, a brief intro to oil and its uses today, then the human history connection, the discovery of oil and its uses in historical societies, then the natural history, and then so we can learn how oil is broken down, then the threshold, the modern revolution, how oil affected the modern revolution and how it was a main driving force for that, and then my final thoughts, and then my reference slide. All right. Oil is used in a lot of today's world, from the motor oil in our cars or the fertilizer we use in our gardens to the fabrics we wear on our clothes, a lot of synthetic like nylon and fabric. And then obviously the plastic bottles we drink or the plastic that we use. It's used in almost every plastic that we use in modern society. Oil is a large part of modern society, obviously. It's what we go to war over. It's a main driving force that propels us into the future. So instead of going to the future, let's go back and see oil's use in early human society. Oil was harvested around 6,000 years ago. It didn't have the uses of today. It was more used as a sealant or as a fuel in things like oil lamps or to just start general fires. It was also used as a general adhesive or a way to seal boats from water. Originally, oil was harvested from natural wells, either by hand or by bowl. A lot different than how we do it today with our giant big rigs. It was even used in some very basic medicines, which I think is very cool, as I like the medical side of things. All right, natural connections. How oil kind of gets made. Oil is created from a process of over millions and millions of years. Firstly, tiny little ocean creatures will die, and as their bodies slowly drift down to the surface, they're buried under layers and layers of sediment. As the sediment adds, pressure adds with it. And then comes the pressure, as it pushes down, it'll get hotter and hotter as it gets crushed and tightened. It's not tightened, but squished. Combining with organic matter under layers and layers of the Earth's crust creates very crude oil. This oil is then stored in veins and pools under the Earth's sediment and will sometimes create veins that shoot to the surface, and that's how those little pools of oil are created that early humans would take from. The modern revolution. As we moved to a more mechanical society with more mechanical inventions, oil was a very needed resource. So instead of the very basic harvesting we did up until that point, we created oil pumps and oil wells and a bunch of inventions to try and harvest as much oil out of the surface as possible. We originally began drilling in the mid 1800s as the revolution started to go into full force. Oil at that time was used to create things as we know today, like plastics and cars. Oil was the major fuel that made the modern revolution happen. If we didn't have oil, who knows where humanity would have been. All right, final thoughts. Short and sweet, as I don't really do online presentations. Oil is the main driving force in our modern world. It is why we go to war. It creates things like pollution, but in turn, it also creates a lot of today's amenities, like cars and planes and fertilizers and plastics. Again, these are what make modern humanity modern humanity. So it's hard to say if oil is bad or good, but it's definitely useful. I guess thanks for coming to my TED Talk on like 5th grade oil refinery. Yippee, yippee.